A massive thank you to Matt, Adam, Fierce and PHYZ1 for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these little clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 18 of Season 1 of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yes, today we head to the Brazilian Grand Prix. If you missed out yesterday's race from Mexico, I know I say it a lot in this series, but definitely one to watch. Arguably I'd say the race of the year in terms of just non-stop action down in Mexico City. But today we head into South America, of course, for the Brazilian Grand Prix here at Sao Paulo. Still haven't heard any word on whether we're going to get some regulation changes ready for next year. I've got a couple of thousand R&D points saved up now. Of course, waiting for Season 2, obviously, if we do get any rule changes. If not, obviously, we'll just spend them over the winter break and trying to get a few bits sorted as well, of course. I'm still having a look at teams or drivers for next year. Of course, you have got all the legends now as well, but having a look up and down the roster, I mean, really, we can't hire many big names still. The likes of David Coulthard or Felipe Massa would be alright there. I'm probably going to avoid trying to hire the legends if I can. They're quite an OP way of getting a rapid teammate here. But to be honest, I'm very much looking at just keeping Schwartzman for next year there. He's still got a lower fee than Christian Lundgaard, and he's done so much better early on this year than Christian has done so there. And when you look at Schwartzman, he's got a higher rating than both Haskars and Yuki Tsunoda as well at this stage of the game. So I think Schwartzman, he's doing well enough to earn himself a seat ready for next year. Let's just see anything going on before Brazil. Doesn't appear to be. Have we got any messages in? No, nothing like that at all. Let's dive in then to the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Okay, I need your attention. The tech regulations are changing. There's a risk some of our hard work will be undone, so we need to mitigate it. As soon as you can, I want you to look at the developments we have and tell us what areas you want to invest in protecting.
Well, there we go then. Rule changes are going to be a thing ready for next year, and we've lost the powertrain and the durability. So a lot of upgrades are going to be going ready for next year. So fingers crossed. It's only 5 parts, actually, by the looks of it. So fingers crossed we should be able to get those sorted. A load of supplier upgrades that have come in this weekend there, as you can clearly see as well. So we need to try and protect all the parts that we've got. They should all be sorted before the end of this year as well, of course. And you can see even more supplier upgrades have come in from Maranello as well there. Luckily, yeah, it was a good job we have saved up these R&D points then at this stage of the year. So we're going to get all those parts adapted. It should now mean as well we can hopefully go with another couple of upgrades on the car as well. Can we do... I'd rather do some aero or chassis upgrades if we can. We'll go with the new plank. That should be ready for Abu Dhabi. And we will also go... We can't go with the rear wing upper flap. I probably should have done that one beforehand. We can just about get some status. I don't know what they are. Oh, no, we can't do that either because we've reached development capacity as well there. Any durability upgrades we can do? Doesn't look like it. No, don't think so. So yeah, plenty of upgrades in the works though. But I think we have got everything sorted, or do we need to wait to be able to... no, we've got all the parts. Yeah, everything's fine then. So yeah, now let's dive into the Brazilian Grand Prix. Really, yeah, I'll be honest, quite happy that we've had at least a few rule changes ready for next year. Feel like it's going to be a really good chance for us to move our way up the order there. But upgrades coming in from Ferrari as well this weekend should help Alfa Romeo out in our battle with AlphaTauri at the moment there. But Gasly is still getting everything out of the AlphaTauri car still up the road. But yeah, it should just mean as we head towards Season 2, feels like we can make some progress against some of the other midfield teams as well, of course. Still and ahhing about Ferrari power units for next year, to be honest. Genuinely tempted to go down the Renault route ready for next year. We've just seen so many Ferrari blow-ups this year, and I think we've only had the one Renault, I want to say. And obviously, that was last time out in Mexico, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Heading out of Junção, though, to finish off our race practice program. Pace feels really good here in Brazil. Clearly, the upgrades that Ferrari brought to the car, giving us just that little helping hand that we need at this stage of the year there, but that's going to be the purple score. Let's dive into the tyre wear test. Must admit, doing these practice program laps around Sao Paulo, I have missed this track on Formula 1 over the last year or so. Obviously, no Brazilian Grand Prix last year. I think it's highly unlikely at this point we're going to get one this year as well, of course. But Sao Paulo, yeah, certainly holds a special place in most F1 fans' hearts.
Complete, and that was a very good job indeed. We got a lot of valuable information out of that.
Pole score again. Let's get into the final practice program. Right, ERS test then to finish off free practice. Hopefully, yeah, we've had 2 purple scores so far. Hopefully this one will be exactly the same as well as we head over the start-finish line. We seem to have good top-end speed around here, but seem to be able to hang on as well through the corners, which is obviously really, really important. But yeah, just got to try and attack the curbs in quite a few places around Sao Paulo. Really such an old-school circuit, but yeah, very, very good fun when you've got a car underneath you. Up to the line, going to be another purple score. Thank you very much. To the disaster that was last weekend's qualifying session at Mexico. Fingers crossed, obviously this time around we can have a bit of a cleaner run through the session, of course. We kind of forgot about that after how decent the race was, but yeah, certainly was not very good from us in that qualifying session there. Feeling a lot more confident though here at Sao Paulo as we head through the CNRS to kickstart our first qualifying run. Fingers crossed Q2 we can make another appearance this weekend. Of course, still a massive title battle going on between Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton at this stage of the year. Just 7 points between them in Bottas' favour after Hamilton's tough couple of weekends. Up towards the line though to finish off our first lap. It's a 6.6 in the end. 1.8 off Valtteri Bottas in P2. But we do go quicker than Russell and Mazepin. Well, getting ready then to head out for our second run here in Q1. We're still not in the drop zone at the moment, but of course everyone else is going to be going out for their laps, and I think Giovinazzi is only a couple of tenths behind us at most there, so certainly time that can be found. Let's just wait and see though, see if we can try and just give ourselves a little bit more safety there. Not the tidiest run through turn 1. A bit better through turn 2 and turn 3, however. Still already half-tenth down as we head out of the first couple of corners there. In towards sector 2. Down in towards Jungsao to finish off the lap there. Back into the car, getting a little bit unsettled on the way in. Hopefully we can get all the power nice and tidily on the way out there. Just nudged the curb, and Giovinazzi has gone quicker. And I think that's going to put pay to us in this qualifying session here as we head out of the final corner down towards the start-finish line. It's going to be very little between us, but we are out in Q1 for the Brazilian Grand Prix there. That's a bit disappointing. So having a look then at the end of the session, just 16 thousandths of a second between myself and Giovinazzi there, so it was just a tiny, tiny margin at the end of qualifying there, but not going to worry about that too much. Ready for this Grand Prix weekend there. You can see Raikkonen up in P14 as well. Be interesting to see how many more grid penalties we have. The last couple of races have been completely mixed up in terms of the grids, but let's dive in then to the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the place where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner. And it's the place, a year later, that Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's Interlagos, and it's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights, for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Now, I want to talk to you about Valtteri Bottas. Everything's on the line here today and the title hangs in the balance. So how do you think they'll be coping with all that pressure?
I think as long as they keep their mind on the task and not its historical significance, they'll be just fine. This is a race just like any other. You do the best you can and accept that sometimes things are going to happen outside of your control. If they can approach today with that attitude, the pressure shouldn't be a problem.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Raikkonen, Norris, and Mr. Monaco, Verstappen, Russell, Sebastian Vettel and Tsunoda. Gasly, Latifi, Esteban Ocon, they've taken a grid penalty. And Antonio Giovinazzi. Mick Schumacher, Schwartzman, Mazepin and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So, plenty more grid penalties then, and we somehow find ourselves starting P10 for the Brazilian Grand Prix here today. In terms of strategy, medium soft should just about stretch to the end of the Grand Prix here today. Team don't reckon it's possible, but it definitely is at this stage of the campaign. Tyre wear's been pretty good in the last couple of Grand Prix as well here, so we'll see what we can muster up in this Interlagos race, of course. Like I said, starting from the top 10, generally that's done us pretty well in the last couple of Grand Prix. I think it's why we've been able to get some consistent points on the board there. We've got a car that can hang on in throughout a lot of the races now at this stage of the day, rather than the start of the season where it's just no real point battling with most of the midfield runners here. But yeah, let's dive in then. Round 18 of the year, 3 races to go in this World Championship. 5 red lights for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go. Off to a pretty okay start, actually, as we head down towards turn 1. We'll have a look at the inside of Kimi there. Don't want to get boxed in on the apex, as we're still 3 wide through turn 2 there, but we do complete the move. And up 2 spots off the start there on Kimi Räikkönen and Lando Norris there, nice and brave off the start of this Grand Prix, as Stroll trying to attack Sergio Perez as we head down in towards the Assetto Corsa on lap 1 here. I think it is, yeah, the Mercedes lead the way at the front, though. I think Hamilton just wants an all-out dogfight with his teammate at this stage of the year, as Lando Norris already getting a little bit feisty behind us as we head up in towards the tight, twisty, technical sector 2 of this lap. But yeah, we've had a really good start there. One of the Ferraris, that must be Alonso, I'm in a P3 here. Alpine have bought a load of upgrades this weekend after the engine failure last time out there, and they are now, on paper, tied with Red Bull as the second best car in Formula 1, which is kind of crazy at this stage of the game. Mercedes, of course, still clear out front, both in performance and in this Grand Prix. There was Lando gets a much better runner than us out of the final corner here. Not too sure we're going to be able to do much against the McLaren. So we head back up towards turn 1 there. Here comes Lando Norris side by side with our fellow Brit as we cross the start-finish line. Lando, yeah, just a bit later on the brakes down the inside, and yeah, we'll slot back down to P9 and focus on trying to keep Kimi at bay. So we've got Verstappen just behind him. It might be a much more difficult task. I'm just saying Lando might make a mistake. I'm not optimistic. Already drawing some similarities between this Grand Prix and Kota, and we're only 3 laps in. Kimi Räikkönen and I hanging on inside the top 10 there, and we're kind of dragging the Finn along with the DRS down the straightaways to try and keep him ahead of a much faster car there. This time around it is Verstappen. Not sure if this was real Max Verstappen, he would have sent it by now. But yeah, we're just trying to keep Kimi at bay, but keep him in the DRS for our own benefit. Just notice as well, the gearbox up to 60% wear here, which isn't ideal, but shouldn't be too bad, I want to say, around this track. We should get a new one in for next weekend as well, if I'm not mistaken. Every 6 Grand Prix, isn't it? So I think, yeah, we will get a new one in for Australia. How weird, Australia, round 19 of the year. Oh, this time around, Kim is a whole lot closer to us as we head out of Jungsao. We're losing so much time to the guys in front here, and I don't really want to start draining the battery all too badly at this stage of the day. There, Räikkönen gets back up the inside in towards turn 1 there. Almost contact between the pair of us. Neither willing to give an inch at the start of the Grand Prix. A bit of a wobble off the exit of turn 2 as well. Let's just see if we can stay close to Kimi and maybe have a look back past him. There's Verstappen, yeah, still waiting in the wings rather weirdly. Don't see this sort of calmness from the Dutchman normally. Come on then, Kimi, let's see what top end speed you got without some DRS then in this race. Get a nice run out of Jungsao. We're going to use our load of battery as well early on in this race. We've got to try and keep the tyres in good nick as well though, remember. We're trying to go for a good strategy long term in this race as well, though, as we take a lot of time out of him. Back down towards turn 1. If we can stick close through here, we might be able to have a look down in towards the Assetto Corsa once more. Use a low more battery out of the first couple of turns. Activate the DRS again, and yeah, surely now we've got a big run on the flying Finn here. Up the inside we go. Oh, Kimi, wheel-to-wheel contact there as he tried to really cut across us.
Good work. Great pass.
Team are happy with that move, so am I. But yeah, Kimi, very feisty. Of course, only got 2 more Grand Prix to go in his Formula 1 career after today, but still giving it everything.
A new strategy strategy is available on the MFD. Okay, some information on Perez. They have some kind of mechanical problem.
Oh, Perez with issues then here in Brazil. As the team still, reckon the one stop is doable then, which is good. We'll probably still pit lap 16 if we can. Obviously depends on what Schwartzman's doing. But yeah, already a quarter of the way in. And Perez now with even more issues. We've caused such a train early on in this Grand Prix. You can see this race is very much just split into 3 separate groups. We've got the front runners, albeit the Mercedes a long way out ahead of Alonso. And then got myself and Kimi Räikkönen's train in this Grand Prix. And then I think it's Tsunoda holding up another one further back. It's, yeah, very, very, very weird early on. But at the moment, we're still sat in P9. I've only just noticed as well, as we cross over 1/3 race distance, how much time we're taking out of Perez lap after lap. At this stage, of course, with his issues, Kimi, though, is the first to blink.
Grip levels to start falling away soon. The gap to the car ahead is 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Kimi is the first to blink, though, so now we're going to be under a lot of pressure from Verstappen very quickly. George Russell, though, is holding up a couple of guys just a bit further back there. As, yeah, our first few pitters. They're going to load more cars into the pits at the end of lap 13. Now Perez stays out for another one. Verstappen is in, though, just behind us. I think he was about to get a run on us then. Back down towards turn 1. Hamilton as well has come back out on a set of mediums, hard tyres even, I should say, in this Grand Prix, but he's a good couple of seconds up the road. So I think he's still in the lead here in Brazil, which is exactly what he needs at this late stage of the season. There we go, Perez in as well as what the, that'll be Lando Norris. Apparently I forgot how to words. And Valtteri Bottas as well.
You'll be on the mediums.
Valtteri Bottas has got fastest lap at the moment, and that could be critical between the Mercedes duo come the end of the year there, but Hamilton has stayed out in front of him. Not by much at all, though, in this race. Maybe we'll see the Mercedes duke it out. Once again, it is Lance Stroll who's able to stretch his tyres really deep into a Grand Prix as well there. Is the Aston Martin going to go softs or mediums? Team on us in. Yeah, there we go. Stroll's doing the same strat as us once more here then in this Brazilian Grand Prix. At least someone else is trying it as well, which is good to see. Should therefore mean it's possible. Although we've done half a race on soft, so I'd be worried if the mediums were worse.
Be aware the car behind has newer tyres. Car behind on newer tyres.
Right, heading out of Zhengzhou then, ready to dive into the pit lane for hopefully our one and only stop of the Grand Prix. Definitely lost out a couple of places to people, but will be interesting to see where we come out again here in Brazil. I'm going to hazard a guess and say just behind that little pack of the Red Bulls, Kimi Räikkönen and the AlphaTauri, I'm guessing of Pierre Gasly in this Grand Prix. It might even be a little bit further back than that actually here. So we head out through the pit lane. Come on, find a gear. That's annoying. No, we are pretty much where I predicted we'd be then here.
These tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
So we head back through the first couple of turns. Don't hit the pit wall, don't hit the pit wall, don't hit the pit wall, thank you. And we will, yeah, just about stay out ahead of Sebastian Vettel here. But 4 seconds now the gap to the guys at the road. I think we've got to hope we see some 2 stops today, otherwise points are not a possibility. Oh, yellow flag's out, that's one of the McLarens.
Caution.
Is that Danny Rick or is that Fernando Alonso that seemed to have dropped out of this Grand Prix? That looks like a big engine failure. Well, by the looks of it then, it's Daniel Ricciardo who's actually got a puncture in this Grand Prix, so no idea how the McLarens managed that then, because he hasn't been on those hard tyres for very long at all in this Grand Prix. There is one of the Aston Martins comes out right behind him there, but how on earth has Daniel Ricciardo got a puncture in that situation? He must have run over debris. Going these extra couple of laps here in Brazil might have really hampered us here if we'd been able to stay in that DRS train.
The gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap.
Yeah, if we'd stayed in that DRS train, we might have been able to hang on with those guys, but at the moment, we're not gaining in on them. Still going to keep pushing, though. I think Gasly's obviously going to have to pit again on those softs, so fingers crossed there's another, and we can try and get ourselves back inside the top 10.
Okay, gap ahead is 2.6 seconds.
We've really taken time out of a lot of them now. I think Ocon at the front of this train has got issues, or needs to pit here, because, yeah, we've taken about a second suddenly out of them on this last lap there. We pulled a little bit away from Sebastian as well here, but maybe, yeah, this isn't over just yet. I think they're all just slowly trying to work their way past the Alpine there. Perez has done so, and that found us about another second there as they went side by side through Sector 2. Who's going to be next? It must be Kimi. Is he going to be able to pull it off? Oh, no, there we go. Ocon into the pits at the end of the lap there, so that is going to re-promote us into 11th then in this race. So once Gasly does pit, we should be back up inside the top 10. But it's how much more we can try and get here. There we go, Kimi into the pit lane as well here, so we are going to be back up inside the top 10 of this Grand Prix. And if Gasly has to dive it in as well, 9th place on the cards here. We've only got 13 laps to go. Just got to keep our head down and try and hold the gap to Vettel, because we've still got quick cars like Sainz behind. Gasly into the pits, the end of lap 25 as well, so it's all starting to fall into place at this stage of the race, but we've still got Vettel and Sainz closing back in on us. So yeah, 11 to go then here. I'm definitely not going to be able to catch the Red Bulls in front.
The gap to the car ahead is 3.0 seconds. Okay, some information on Perez. They seem to have an issue. We're leading our teammate by 22.8 seconds.
More issues for Sergio Perez here in this Grand Prix. How unlucky can the Mexican get in that Red Bull? But for us though, Vettel now inside DRS range, but Carlos Sainz has actually had to pit again behind us. So not too sure what's happened to the Ferrari. But now, yeah, Perez might be vulnerable later on. Don't think there's going to be much we can do against Vettel this time round here. I think we might just have to try and hang on to the Aston.
Somewhere on the ICE, be aware that we will start to see a loss of power.
That's not helpful either, as Seb comes back up the inside in towards turn 1. We'll just slot back in behind him, I think, at this stage. And hope, yeah, that we can close up to Perez with him. Just a handful of laps to go now as we rock in towards lap 30 of the Mexican Grand Prix, Brazilian Grand Prix even, I should say. Sergio Perez, the Mexican, is still just in front of us here. But Sebastian Vettel is probably going to try and look past him down in towards the Esquina de Largo as we head, yeah, onto lap 30. Like I said, are we going to see Vettel get the run now on Sergio? Mercedes power versus Honda power. Of course, that Red Bull, yeah, trying to limp its way to the flag. It's still trying to take him a couple of points here. Perez does go defensive on Seb. And Seb can't find the momentum there. Oh, Seb actually slows down right on the apex in front of me. Don't think there was any major contact between the pair of us there. I think we're all alright. Let's just double check. Yeah, car's still fine. But what's going to happen here? Out of the final turn then. Let's see if Perez can now defend against Sebastian Vettel once more. This Grand Prix, former Red Bull driver. Of course, his current Red Bull driver. As Vettel has a look round the outside, down towards someone there. Perez has got no opportunity but just slot back in. And hopefully now we'll be vulnerable. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Just give him the hurry up through turn 1. Fingers crossed now we can try and get a run as well out of the first couple of corners here. Perez has already lost the one spot. Turning inside we go though. He squeezes us right down to the grass. Whoa! And I've got no idea what has happened there between myself and Sergio Perez. Did we just come together like Seb and Leclerc? Watching it from the offboard there, I think it's difficult. I think, to be honest, we probably came across Sergio, but I think he turned slightly against us as well. Let's just watch it a bit slower then as we head down in towards the corner. You can see we're trying to get back towards the racing line there, but Perez does definitely turn at us as well there, and then we just get stuck together. Perez actually turns in on us again there, you can see on his steering wheel. We'll have a look from his POV in just a second there. Then, of course, we both just get pushed out towards the outside of the circuit there. How on earth the Red Bull has kept most of his front wing intact there. You can see a tiny little bit on the end plate there, and unfortunately, yeah, that's just us straight sideways there. We were lucky we didn't hit the wall. So watching it from Sergio, as you can see, we're both heading towards the racing line again in this Grand Prix. That I'm trying to be a little bit aggressive. You know, Sergio's got issues. I wasn't expecting him to really carry on battling this one out. You can just see there, turns at me once, and then again, just as we start to make contact, Sergio turns at me again, rather than trying to bail out of it there. So really not too sure how to feel about that one. At this point, obviously now he's just trying to keep himself from going out of the wall, so I can understand it at this point. But I can't help but feel, yeah, we were trying to squeeze Sergio. He's got engine issues, so I didn't think he tried to battle it too hard. And yeah, we've kind of just got stuck together there. As we head back out of the gravel trap though, that's us down to P13 in this race. It's heartbreaking late on here in Brazil to really, yeah, just dip out of the points there. Like I said, it was such a meaningless battle as well because Perez did have those engine issues. I think we're just going to have to pit onto a set of softs here because we've absolutely shredded those mediums in the process there. But yeah, I think that is a heartbreaking way to end here in Interlagos. Well, like I said, we'll dive it in because, yeah, these tyres are absolutely cooked. So Perez has had to dive it into the pits as well here at the end of the lap. So look, I feel well, better is probably the wrong word to describe it, but I feel a little bit less gutted. In fact, obviously Perez has picked up some damage as well in that instant, but obviously he's going on to softs as well. If he's still got those issues, we might still be able to beat him by the end. 2.4 is not too shabby either, as we're actually going to come out behind our teammate Schwartzman in this Grand Prix. But Perez, I think... Oh, that's not good. Clipping the wall on the exit of the pit lane. And again, it's all going pear-shaped right at the end. We're now down in P19, a lap now down behind the Mercedes. I think we've only been lapped once this year, and that was all the way back at Bahrain.
And we think you should be okay to continue. It'll cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race. A new strategy is available on the MFD.
And we did pick up damage there as well. It's all just gone completely downhill right at the end. Schwartzman and Giovinazzi have had to let the guys go in front there as we've got yellow flags out. I think that was our teammate Schwartzman letting the two in front of us out of the way there, but on the much softer rubber. Can we still get a run despite the wing damage?
We can't sustain this level of damage.
Everyone closing in on each other as we head back down towards turn 1. We're going to have a look at the inside of Gio though. Big lock-up for our teammate Schwartzman, who spots us in the mirrors. That was a pretty decent little placement of the car through turn 1. Can we now do the same to our teammate here? You can see at the dirty edge just how much we're struggling to get the front end rotated. There is all to the outside of our teammate. We don't want another crash down in towards turn 4, but we do hold on.
Next car. Push, push.
Perez 4 seconds at the road there. If he's still got damage, we might be able to do something. Heading on to the final lap then of this Brazilian Grand Prix. Perez sets another new fastest lap, so there's no way we're going to be able to catch him by the end of this one. But Hamilton and Bottas still separated by very, very little as we head through this final lap here. Of course, Hamilton needs this race victory today if he wants to remain in good championship contention here. I think at the moment, if he wins this... Oh, but look at that, Bottas to the outside, down in towards the Esquina de Lago. Who's going to lead? Hamilton and Bottas still side by side though as they head out of Sector 1 there. Well, I think Bottas has done it on the final lap of this Grand Prix there. Has Bottas just mugged off his teammate Lewis Hamilton? Or are we going to see Lewis try and get another run in towards the start-finish line?
Officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
Don't know if there was a little bit of contact between Hamilton and Valtteri here, but Valtteri Bottas might have just pulled off the upset of the season there on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Perez now trying to get the run on George Russell onto the final lap here, but Bottas out of nowhere is going to come through to take the win here in Interlagos, and that could be World Championship defining here. Hamilton P2, P17 for us.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
And after all of that, at the end of the day, my game crashed. Absolutely love it. F1 2021 still there. But it is, therefore, I mean, Bottas technically won the race, but it's given it to Hamilton, rather annoyingly, in the end there. Which, I mean, for the championship, makes it interesting. But yeah, a little bit gutted, I'll be honest, with that one there. Ricciardo P3 ahead of Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, Sainz. Alonso, Sainz. Perez gets points this time around. I'm pretty annoyed about that as well. There is, yeah, Carlos Sainz, 22nd to 8th in the end. That's a very good job done by the Spaniard there in his Ferrari. You can see the rest of your order on your screens as well there. We still, yeah, obviously, like I said, we just retired the car at the start there. We hadn't scored points the first time round, so just thought that would probably be the fairest way of doing it there. In terms of the championship, like we said, though, it does now mean Hamilton and Bottas tied on points there at the top, 318 apiece. Verstappen still holding on to P3 ahead of Norris there. Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc get the jump on Sainz and Sergio Perez. That is all still to play for between all of those guys. We still hold on to P13 at the moment. No other movers further down the order there. McLaren 6 points now ahead of Red Bull at this stage of the campaign, but Ferrari's still right there and ready as well, of course. Alpine, obviously, with their all upgrades, are now ahead of AlphaTauri once more there. They should try and hold on to P6 between now and the end of the year there. But yeah, a little bit gutted, I'll be honest, with that game crash at the end of the day. But 2 races to go of the season. We'll be back tomorrow, ready for the Australian Grand Prix. I assure you guys, you do not want to miss it. Of course, none of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to the Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David and Ben for becoming channel members. Of course, if you want to be featured in these end clips below, make sure you click that join button and you'll get access to some other exclusive perks as well.